Hey, what's going on, guys? So as most of you know, this is the Pathfinder 2 knife by Blindhorse Knives. I've been looking for a reason to test this thing out for a while now on video, and just quite frankly I've never gotten around to it. Like always, I don't believe in batoning and chopping with your knife. I've said that 1,000 times and I'll say it 1,000 more times. But for the sake of the videos and the demonstration of these knives, I'm going to go ahead and put them through those kinds of paces so that you guys will not have to baton and have to chop with them, but rely on the fact that they will hold up. So let's get into it, see what this bad boy will do. Alright, first things first, let's go ahead and try a feather stick with this thing. Doing a pretty good job. Alright, so let's try another method. Now the one thing I am noticing with the Pathfinder 2 is I'm having a bit of a problem getting thinner slices as what I do with, say, my more companion or my new robust. And using that style, it's going to take some practice. I don't like that at all. Didn't get very good curls. It's probably mainly user error, just because I haven't really used this knife a whole lot. So I'm sure with a little bit of more practice, be a little bit better at that. Alright, so now all I'm doing is I'm just getting sticks and I'm just making more of these little feather sticks. Basically, all I'm doing is taking the shavings that fall off or come off, and I'm saving them. I'm breaking them off as I go. And I'm just collecting a nice little pile down here. See if you can see that. Just like that. And we're going to see how well this knife will throw sparks here in a minute. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken off all them shavings, or broke them off into small pieces of feather sticks like this, and I've just made a little pile of them. So I'm going to take my ferrule rod and the Pathfinder 2 knife and see, it will throw a spark in there, see if we can get a fire with this. And there you go. One of my earlier videos, someone had complained that my shoulder had gotten away. I guess it really wasn't a complaint, but more of one of those things where they pointed out that it could have been misconstrued, that I might have cheated and used a Bic lighter. So wanted to make sure that that was in plain sight for you guys. Let's move on. The vicious neighbor attack wiener dogs, out to save the day from the big bad guy that chops on wood. Okay, I'll be honest with you, I actually expected this knife to do a little bit better than this. I didn't expect for it to be that big of an issue to get through that. I think it's probably, in fact, undue that it has that thicker blade on it. Baton's pretty well. Alright, so batons pretty well. Chopping, a little bit of a difficulty chopping. And right after I get done chopping and batoning, I always like to go right back to a little bit of a feather stick or making some shavings just to see if it still shaves pretty good. You know, I'll be honest with you, I really don't feel that comfortable feather sticking with this knife. I think, like I said before, it's largely in part that I don't use this knife as much as I would like to, and that's mainly because I stick with my Moras quite a bit. And now that I've discovered that new Mora Robust, I kind of stick with it. But, you know, I mean, it still does feather. And like I said, I think it's mainly just because I'm not used to it. I think with a little practice it'll do just fine. Alright, now comes the part where a lot of you guys are not going to necessarily like. And that's just going to give my overall thoughts of the Pathfinder 2 knife. Now, I paid $160 for this knife, and I have used it, but I have not used it as much as what I do my Moras. And mainly it's just because my Moras feel better in my hand, and I just feel like I have more control over them. I'm not taking anything away from this knife. I mean, it's a very well built knife, and I mean, it's a beautiful knife. They did a really good job on it, and it wasn't that they made this knife as a knife purpose only knife. They kind of designed it so that it could be used as a one tool option, and like I said, not so much just as a knife. But you know, for me, I feel more comfortable with my Mora versus this. Like I said, largely in part it might be that I just don't use this enough. Maybe if I use it more, I'll get more comfortable with it and everything else. But every knife that I use, I keep coming back to Mora. Lately, this new Robust, you may have seen the video on it. Just a big fan of this knife. So anyway, guys, you may not like this video because of what I have to say about it, but it is what it is. It's just my opinion. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Like always, have a good evening.